So when you develop your mindfulness, all the other methods introduced in our religion, automatically we practice. Right? 8 noble paths, 5 precepts, 8 precepts, all the morals and ethics and good conduct and behavior, everything are there when the mindfulness is there. So when we develop mindfulness, it is impossible for us to make mistake. That is the correct path. Then, for the attainment of Nibbana, that is the final goal. So we started from the beginning by cultivating this mindfulness, reducing our worries and miseries and problems, then overcoming certain problems and grievances and suffering, again eradicating certain sufferings and grievances, then get into the correct path. After that, no one can mislead us. Then, attainment of Nibbana. What is this attainment of Nibbana? Since our minds are intoxicated with worldly material gain, worldly pleasures, worldly happiness, and some sort of selfishness, craving, anxieties we maintain in our mind. So when we talk about Nibbana, that mind which is intoxicated by all those forces never appreciate Nibbana. They cannot. So we can appreciate the bliss or the happiness in Nirvana after completion or by fulfilling some of these duties when the mind is ready to appreciate. Otherwise, no meaning at all. That is why the different schools of Buddhism try to introduce Nirvana just to console, just to satisfy worldly minded people, appeal to their mind. Otherwise, at once, they say, what is that? I told you, our minds are completely covered with so many other anxieties, craving, desire, egoism. Now how can we appreciate Nibbana? To them, so they have created another kind of Nibbana. Then they say, yes, we like it very much. For that I can give a simple example. A monk who has studied Abhidhamma, who could analyze the mind and Nirvana and everything, gave a sermon in a temple. And there was a very devout lady who supported this temple almost every day come and look after the monks, provide so many things. But she had her own views and belief about nirvana. And the monk who gave a sermon about nirvana, he said, in nirvana, there is no physical body, and there is no food, no water, no sun, no moon, no earth, no wind. This is the nature of nirvana. Then this lady started to think, in that case, why should I waste my time? I spent so much my time and money and everything thinking that I can gain something in nirvana. But this monk says, in nirvana we cannot find any of these, even food also we cannot find in nirvana. She completely boycotted. And the chief monk came to know why this lady did not come to the temple and what happened to her. Then asked somebody to go and find out. Then she told, well, I heard, I have been working so hard to attain nirvana, but that monk saying nirvana we cannot find even food. We have to starve there. Why should I go there? Why should I pay my time and money, everything? I have nothing to do with the temple. Then this monk was a very wise man. So what he did, he invited another monk to come and give a sermon on nirvana and asked that particular lady also to come and listen. And told her, I think the monk who gave that sermon about nirvana, there is something wrong in his mind to tell like this. But this monk who is going to explain nirvana, he knows what it is. By knowing this situation, he started his sermon, explain nirvana. Then he started telling how people can enjoy their life in nirvana. And what sort of jewelry, diamond, gold that they can gain in nirvana. What sort of food that they can, any kind of food in nirvana. And any kind of vehicle, whatever they want at any time. Just like this. Then the lady got up and said, yes, Venerable Sir, actually that is what we wanted. That mad monk who gave talk about nirvana said there is nothing in nirvana. You can see the mentality, understanding capacity, how far they can realize. Now when we talk to small children about nirvana, what can they understand? If you say, oh, in nirvana you can find, every day you can find various kind of ice cream, chocolates and so many things, then they like it. This is the way of thinking. To appreciate nirvana, first we had to analyze our life, the world, the element, the energies, existence, world system. Then we come to know the things are going on changing, never remains. And every day we are going on worrying and fighting and quarreling and crying and lamenting, whatever we gain. Always we maintain fear and suspicions and tensions and insecurity, whatever we have. Although we are rich or poor, we have to suffer from various sicknesses and troubles and old age and Indian death. Then we are going on analyzing in this way. After that, we can appreciate nirvana. So in simple language, I can tell you, nirvana is nothing but end all our physical and mental suffering. That is nirvana. So there is nothing for you to worry about that. Then he is going to analyze. You must try to recite, if possible, although you cannot understand. The translation is here. I know you have some difficulties to pronounce these words. Katame chattaro. Now what are those 4 methods? He said there are only 4 methods. What are those 4 methods for your mindfulness? Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu kaye kayanupassi viharati. Chitte chittanupassi viharati. Vedanasu vedananupassi viharati. Dhammeshu dhammanupassi viharati. These are the 4 things. If you can develop your mindfulness on these 4 objects, Kaye kayanupassi, Vedanasu vedananupassi, Chitte chittanupassi, Dhamme dhammanupassi. In short form. These are the 4. And the first one is Kaye kayanupassi. Kaya means body. Physical body. Either your body or any other kind of body. But not on busybody. Don't concentrate on busybody. It's very difficult for you to catch. Then how to concentrate on body? Then the method. Very systematically, the Buddha has explained item by item. Now he is going to analyze. Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu aranyagatowa rukkhamulagatowa sunyāgāragatowa iti parisañcikkati. A monk. Now directly he is giving this advice to the group of monks. Usually, when they want to develop this mindfulness, they want to keep away from the society. Because there are so many disturbances. Difficult to guard their 5 senses. Various kind of vision, sound, smell, and the taste and the feeling. These 5 things disturb the mind. Again, external influence. People have so many problems, difficulties, fighting, quarreling, shouting, running. Then they experience the difficulty for their concentration or mindfulness. So the best thing is to keep away from all these disturbances at the beginning. And later, when you develop this mindfulness, there is no difficulty for you to maintain your mindfulness, in spite of various disturbances. I think you can remember, the other day I have told you, the Venerable Sariputta, chief disciples of the Buddha. So when he was concentrating, yes, cultivated all the great virtues and the quality, there is nothing for you to develop, but they too concentrate to avoid all these external things. So when he was concentrating, somebody started to scold him by using all the vulgar, wicked words. But no reaction. So after scolding and scolding, this man who scolded him got fed up and asked, "Did you hear that I scolded you?" Then, at that time he has already stopped his mindfulness. Then he asked, "What did you say?" "You did not hear that I scolded you?" He said, "No, I didn't hear anything." That means at that time, these five senses cannot influence the mind. External disturbances cannot influence or disturb the mind. But at the beginning we experience difficulties, but later we can ignore all these things. It is not difficult for you to understand. You know, there are some people who can sleep very peacefully at the pavement, in the public road. They have no difficulty of sleeping. So many vehicles, buses, cars, lorry, thousands of people going, running here and there, but they can sleep very peacefully. They can ignore all this because they are used to it. At the beginning, yes. Now you try to go and sleep there at the pavement near the railway station, whether you can sleep or not. Alright, you try for a few months, then you can overcome that problem. So in the same way, when you start this mindfulness, you experience a lot of problems. Not external problem. Your own mind creates a lot of problems. Because mind always rejects. Mind is not used to it. You are going to introduce a new system to your mind. The duty of the mind is to always go on thinking, then talking and doing something, that's all. Now we are going to stop all these things. We are going to stop thinking, going to stop talking, going to stop working for the time being. Then what will happen? Mind is alone. Now, this mind is very stubborn. Experience some sort of unrest. Then started to create mental objects. Five senses are already closed. No disturbances from the senses. Mind is alone. Then create daydreams in that mind. Enjoy. The mental image created by the mind enjoys. That is why we have to give an object. Otherwise the mind cannot tolerate. To stop this imagination, we must give an object for this mindfulness. Later, you can forget this object. It is not important. When the mind is tamed properly, That object is not important. You know, when a child is crying, what do? You go and give something. If not, put this one. Then stop crying. So in the same way, at the beginning, we give something to console this naughty mind. Then allow this mind to hold on to this particular object. Then mindfulness and concentration is important to guard this mind, to hold on to this without allowing this mind to get another object. Otherwise, throw away this one and get another one. The small babies also do that. You put this in the mouth, you give 2 hours, and after that you give some milk. It's just like that. Mind is like a baby actually, not trained yet. To avoid all these things, before the mind get another object, then we develop this mindfulness. The method is here. So today, I have no time. This is very interesting, practical, meaningful. This is the real Buddhism. If you really want to experience some good result, to maintain your healthy mind, healthy life, to avoid your worries and problems, to develop some confidence in you, this is the method. Praying and worshipping is just like go and begging. Forever you have to beg. That is not the solution. The secret is, they have cultivated their mind. They have completed so many things. Although rebirth has taken place in a poor family, it is immaterial. So realization can appear easily. Now let us take one story. The chief disciple of the Buddha, Sariputta, he was searching a suitable religion or the truth. Wandering here and there all over the country, he met so many religious teachers, but he could not satisfy. So one day when he was going somewhere, he met a very strange person. And he thought, he was watching very carefully, so a very serene figure, very calm, very gentle. Then he thought, this person must be somebody. He approached him, then asked, actually, may I know, so what is your religion and who is your master and what is the method that you practice? Can you please tell me? Then he told him very frankly, actually, I do not know very much. Very recently, I became a disciple of the Buddha. His name was Assaji. You know, there were 5 ascetics who attended to the first sermon of the Buddha, I the last one, Assaji. Anya Kondanya, Madhya, Assaji, Vappa, Mahanama. So, I know only little bit. Then Sariputta said, Appamva bahumva bhasassu atthanjeva me bruhi. No matter whether you can preach a lot or little bit, makes no difference to me. What I want is only the essence, the truth, that's all. I don't know so many words. Then he started. He said, I know only this much. Ye dhamma hetu pabhava tesang hetung tathagato aha tesang chayo nirodho evam vadi mahasamano. Mahasamano means Buddha. The Buddha says like this, I know only this much. What is that? Ye dhamma hetu pabhava. If there is anything in this world that which exists, the life or otherwise, ye dhamma hetu pabhava. There is a cause. Without any cause, these things never appear. Then, tesanchayo nirodha. And he also, the Buddha, teaches how these things appear, exist, change, and disappear. Again he said, if we cannot satisfy with this existence or changes or appearance or disappear, he also taught us how to get rid of this. Evam vadi mahasamano. This Mahasamana, great teacher, Evam vadi, said like this. Before he complete the whole stanza, this Sariputta attained the first stage of sainthood, Sotapanna. The essence of the Dhamma is there. That is why it is not necessary for us to talk too much, so many words. Not necessary to read so many books, create more confusion. Not necessary to follow so many gurus and teachers and masters. If you can use little bit of your common sense, you can understand the truth. Because his mind is ready. When he started to reveal to him, he attuned his mind. And the wavelengths directly penetrated into the mind. Realizations appear. That is called enlightenment. Sudden enlightenment takes place like this. But you must have background. Now take another example. Now here we have few people. Every Friday, in spite of various other commitments and pleasures and television programs and so many things, you have courage to come here and spend at least 2-3 hours thinking that you can learn something. You know very well you won't gain any material thing, worldly thing. You have to spend a little bit to come here. But how many thousands and millions of others are there outside? When you go and talk to them, no other work. Don't waste your valuable time. That is their way of thinking, and this is your way of thinking. So that means you are preparing. You pay attention. You know how to appreciate the truth. So that means you are preparing. You pay attention. You know how to appreciate the truth. And then this will become your habit, your mental habit. Then you develop this. What will happen? Assume you could not complete your journey to become a saint. Then when rebirth takes place, very easily again you get into the same line because of this attraction. You have trained your mind in this way so that mental track very easily get into that. Then you know how to appreciate this way of life in the next birth also. This is the way how to continue and develop. There are some people by nature, although whether they have a religion or not, we have seen that they uphold certain principles. Some sort of honesty or kindness by nature. Nobody taught them to be like that. This is their habit that they have developed life after life. So we can develop further and further all the other virtues. Thoughtful wisdom. I very carefully use this word. See the difference? Wisdom and thoughtful wisdom. Wisdom can be misused, abused human mind. Wisdom means penetrative knowledge. Through their analysis, they can understand what it is. That is wisdom, not knowledge. Vast difference. Even then, in that mind, still there are craving, attachment, selfishness and evil forces. So that wisdom can be misused or misled. That's why here, thoughtful wisdom. This thoughtful wisdom we cannot misuse. Can use only for good purpose. Either to serve others or to cultivate ourselves. We use that wisdom, that realization to experience bliss and to radiate our compassion, our kindness and harmony and cooperation towards others. Cannot misuse. That type of wisdom. Purity and energy. Of course, when the defilements or the mental impurities are no more, the mind is pure. But we have a temporary purity in our mind. Now your minds are pure, but only the outlook. Your unconscious or subconscious minds are not pure. All the dirts are there, still remain. And after a few minutes, again more and more dark clouds come and occupy your mind. On the way, when you drive your motor car or travel by bus, you lose your temper, some other problem. If not fear. When you reach home, again you lose your temper, you shout, you fight. There are many reasons for you to do that. That purity faded away. When you are here, the surrounding, the atmosphere is favorable for you to maintain some sort of purity. Always meet Christians, Hindus, and all sort of people who come and sit down there for hours. They say very peaceful. When they go out, they cannot experience this peace. Everything is favorable. Nobody to disturb you, irritate you, or to bluff you here. That is called religious atmosphere. So what you are trying to do now, you try to strengthen your mind to face such problems when you go out. By using this purity, and energy is important. Energy means mental energy. What is this mental energy? Firm determination. That is called mental energy. Not stubbornness or skeptical views. Firm determination to avoid certain evil thing, to do certain good thing, to maintain dignity through mental. By force you cannot do that. Number 7. Mara labhantu nokasam katuncha viriye sume buddhadi pavaro natho dhammo natho varuttamo. Mara labhantu nokasam katuncha viriye sume buddhadi pavaro natho dhammo natho varuttamo. If you can recite this after paying homage or after doing some offerings or recitals of sutras, in the end, if you can recite this one and read the meaning, you can go on developing your confidence. That is very important. That means you are molding your future life. So every time when you read, you have to think. That thinking reflects in the subconscious mind. Psychology very clearly explains whatever we think reflects into the subconscious mind. So this is the way how we can mold our future. Then we have hopes and confidence. The meaning. May evils, personified as Maras, never approach me through the power of my action and energy, through such power as the Lord Buddha, the law, the loft, supreme and best. Mara, I think all of you know. introduced as one of the most powerful supernatural living beings in this world who encourages evil deeds and who disturbs good deeds. This is a common belief in every religion. There must be a very strong opposition party. Otherwise, the religious teachers cannot become big boss, my opponent is so strong, so powerful, but I wallop him. Then he becomes a very big man. But here, we should not take for granted, in gross form, that this is somebody. All the evil forces that which exist in our mind, which persuade, force us to commit evil, wicked, cruel things. So we have formed or transformed as a person. This is our way of thinking. Even the concept of God, when you study the history of religion, from the very beginning people never had this belief that there is a person. But they believe there is some sort of energy or Shakti. And later they develop and develop and develop, transform as a person. Then started to pray and worship. So they have gone a very big round for a few thousand years. When science and technology and psychology and modern subject developed, interpreted many things, again religionists try to introduce, because there are many things that they cannot answer. So today, they say, God is not a person. They have come back to the same place where they started. They say, God is not a person. They say it's a nature. Some people say it's a nature. Some people it's an energy. But they have transformed this concept into a person, then started to worship. That is why it is recorded in their holy book. Man is created in the image of God. That is the biggest mistake they have done. Now they cannot escape. They cannot say God is not a person. Man is created in the image of God. Anyway, they know how to twist and give new interpretation. Then they also introduce another strong force, opposition party, as Satan or devil or Asura or Mara. So every religion. But we should not regard them as person, but they are forces. Evil forces exist in our mind. God also exists in our mind. Devil also exists in our mind. Mara also exists in our mind. So that is why people say the mind is devil's workshop. Very big ground for them to play havoc, our mind. Now you can understand why this mind must be trained, guided, because of this. Evil forces can influence this mind. After that, human beings can behave worse than so-called devils. They become devils at that time. So the figure that they try to introduce as devils. Very dark color and big eyes and big teeth and big mouth. All these are our imagination. The figure of devil and figure of ghost, just like cartoon or illustration, for us to get some ideas. All our evil forces we have transformed into figures and introduced as person. Then started to worship and pray. But understanding people do not pray to such people. They know the real concept, how this idea was originated in the man's mind. So, it is the weakness of our own mind, because we have no confidence. It is due to lack of this confidence we go on worshipping, praying to all these devils and ghosts and other figures created by our own mind. So that means we create, we pray certain figures, and we pray to the figure created by our own mind. Then we experience some good result. People say, how can you say? I had a lot of problem after praying, now I am okay. You do not know the psychological effects. This is the nature of the mind. There must be some sort of figure, object or symbol for you to pray. Then you surrender your mind to that object. Take Goddess of Mercy or the Buddha or Jesus, any religious figure. So in front of these figures, you surrender yourself. Then you develop your devotion. When you develop your devotion, the mind becomes very soft. After that, you develop confidence, hope. Completely you change your mental attitude. And this mental force that you develop in your mind through your prayers or recitals change the physical body. Blood circulation, heartbeat, glands, organs, brains, so many changes take place. Then worries, sicknesses, some other ache and pain here and there also disappear. And we say, well, I pray, God answered my prayer. Yes, you experience. And that is the secret. So I don't advise you to not to pray. You can go ahead. No harm. You are not doing any harm to anybody. If possible, spend more time for praying. Then you have no time to gossip, no time to scold others, no time to fight. Spend your time praying, whole day and night. Very good. Then, so here, may evil, Mara, never approach me. That means, may those evil forces never influence me, never create temptation, never mislead me. That is the real idea. But another person cannot stop this. That is why we have to determine through the power of my action. Now, we have been developing and developing and developing. Now, in the end, we say, to the power of my action. Action means here the mental energy, mental purity, and the meritorious deeds. Because the meritorious deeds also we have done with good intention. Develop some sort of power. So by the power of this development, may evil forces never get the chance to disturb me. Then an energy through such power as the Lord Buddha again, just like the Buddha or any other kind of saints who have developed, who have achieved that end. May I also get the same qualities and the virtues and the purity and supreme bliss in my life. Now this is the aim, the ultimate aim that we accept from a religion. Natho pacceka sambuddho sangho natho taro mamam tesottamanu bhavena maro kasang labhantuma. Natho pacceka sambuddho sangho natho taro mamam tesottamanu bhavena maro kasang labhantuma. The Lordly Lord Buddha and my highest Lord of the Arya Sangha, even unto my final birth, may evil never approach me. Natho pacceka sambuddho. Natha means leader, hero, Natha. So the adjective to the Pacceka Buddha and Samma Sambuddha. Pacceka Buddha, silence Buddhas. They experience their enlightenment, they experience their Nibbanic bliss. They do not come out to preach to others, that is their nature. You should not blame them for that. Samma Sambuddha, why do we introduce these two kinds of Buddhas? Because there is difference in their enlightenment, but not in their Nibbanic bliss, no difference whatsoever. Arahanta, Pacceka Buddha, Samma Sambuddha, when you analyze their wisdom or enlightenment, there are differences. To serve others. Samma Sambuddha maintain some extra 6 kind of qualities where we cannot find among Arahantas or Pacceka Buddhas or any other religious teachers. So I have no time to explain those 6. I can tell you only one. Samma Sambuddha is the only religious teacher in this world who can preach, who can explain by knowing the understanding capacity of the listeners. Others cannot do that. That is why on many occasions he kept quiet. He knew no meaning at all. He knew this person cannot understand. Again, he can understand the background of his mind, how he has developed his way of thinking life after life, how much he can grasp, understand, and what sort of parables, interpretation, illustration. So he had so many techniques. When you study 45 years teaching, so many kind of techniques because of this different mental attitude. Others cannot do that. Some different, only 6 extra qualities. Natho Pacceka Sambuddho. Sangho Nathottaro Mama. Here Sangha means Arya Sangha. Sammuti Sangha, Arya Sangha. Sangha community divided into 2 groups. Arya means noble. Talking about those monks who have attained Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahanta, Arya path, noble path. They are known as Arya Sangha. Sammuti Sangha means accepted, recognized by the public and the community as the Sangha who lead a religious way of life by working to gain the same Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahant. This is the difference. So may I follow them, their example. Then even unto my final birth. So let me adjust my way of life by knowing the method and the system until I attain my final goal, Nibbana. That means not to go astray, not to go back to jungle again. It is very difficult to come back. May evils never approach me. Evils never come from outside. Mind, hidden evil mental forces, others create some sort of environment to irritate. When there is no controlling power in that mind, then we allow this thing to flare up, like jealousy, anger or hatred or ill will or temptation. But outsiders can create only environment. They cannot create this thing in our mind. They are already in our mind, and they can provoke us. So here our aspiration is, let me maintain my purity, my mental energy until I attain the ultimate aim of my life, final goal. So this is a very important recitals for us to, the more we recite with understanding, the more we develop some sort of confidence and understanding and going on molding our way of life. Right. Thank you.